Hello, everyone.
Hey.
Welcome to this SAPSA Talk, the topic of BTP. And today we're going to talk, in this session, we're going to talk mostly about free tier and how the quicker innovations and business gains with free tier. And on this panel, we have three different perspectives on the topic. Pontus Borgström, who works at SKF, so he's a part of he's a user company, represents user companies. David Glans, Stretch, an SAP partner, and Mikkel Forsberg from SAP. So hopefully this will give some different perspective, some good discussions coming up. And basically what we want to start off with is how do you prepare yourself to speed up innovation? And I would actually like David to start this off.
Okay, so from a partner perspective, how we prepare ourselves? That's your question.
Yeah, or also prepare the customers maybe.
For the customers. So I guess maybe they are quite similar. I guess to gain access to free tier. I think one of the main challenges in moving into this is the speed of change in the platform, and that's also one of the biggest gains of having the free tier available. We see that we spend a lot of time learning functionality and services that actually never get any widespread use. So we learn them, we try to adopt them, we try them out, what we can do with them, and then in the end, maybe when we meet the same business sort of need coming later somewhere, we use it in a different part of the platform or different products. So I think to have to build a organizational mindset for continuous learning and continuous development is one of the key aspects, I guess. Biggest changes we have made in terms of how we work with competence development or also how we discuss with the customers. We can come back to that later from other perspectives, but I think that's one of maybe the biggest ones.
Pontus, do you have anything you can add to that as well, as a user?
No.
End of discussion.
No, I would actually say that this is one of the most, let's say, challenging because as you said, you need to change your mindset. What we are doing in perspective to this is, of course, that most of the system that we actually have them, let's call it in the sandbox environment, available for the business to start using it. Because this is one of the big things. You don't need to pay extra for setting up your own sandbox system like you did before, because we know the hustle. You need to get hardware, you need to get someone to install it, you need to get money to run it, you need to have a budget, and then you kill everything. So in this perspective, it's easy. It takes me, let's say, 30 seconds to spin up an integration suite tenant in Sandbox. It takes me the same amount to do any of the others. So it means that it's without big hustle to do it. But the mindset for the company is actually to adopt to a new way of doing things. Of course, we use a lot in the integration area from SKF. And one of the key points that we are doing a lot of POCs. Because if we get an idea, okay, we can use this one. Yeah, let's try. Let's do a small POC. Make sure, set it up, test it. Does it work? Does it make sense? Do we have any roadblockers? Maybe its functionality is not what we expected and it cannot be used. But the good thing is that innovation is driven by that. So innovate that a lot faster, because this is kind of the mentality change that you need to do as a company to actually start using it. And don't be so scared, because the only thing you need to do, don't activate what's cost money if you want to stay on a zero budget, but this is one of the key topics. Innovate by proof of concepting and set up the sandbox as soon as possible.
Yeah, and I'm really, of course, happy to hear that, to experiment and try very quickly. I think that's why SAP was it in July 2021 when we started with a free tier. So we basically lowered the entry to barrier for all customers to try to, really start experimenting the capabilities in B2P, and really, I think before we actually enabled free tier, we had very high barriers for our customers to really try the solutions on cloud platform, which was the name back then. So I think that's also the key. And now we have 45 services on total of 96 services on B2P available for free tier. So basically, if you have a CPEA or like a commercial contract with SAP, or if you have your own global account, you can activate it very easily through your B2P cockpit. And that is also something that we are always improving on to make it easier for end users to start activating services easily. But maybe a question to you then, Pontus, on was there a change of mindset inside the organization when this was available now to really trial and error, or some sort of governance maybe was needed?
So let's say the innovation seeking, since a lot of that comes from me, then it was a lot easier because I did not have to have someone else to spend money. So it's like, but I can say, if we were 5 years ago and anyone would say that SAP is giving away things for free, then you would have laughed. But at the same time, now we are here in order to realize this. So the change was more already there because we broke down the barriers. So the first thing was that we established a group, an owner of the platform. So there is a couple of people in that is approving what we are doing to make sure that we keep within the cost and don't just activate. But also, if we need to have free tier together with the paid services, so that we activate the paid services, but we deactivate it as soon as we are ready. So that means that we don't need to spend that much money also if we want to bring in that one into this. So a change of mind, no, we were working with that, but the barriers are gone. So now it's more when I come to the person in charge for the resources, it's more, not another POC. But now I have a half a resource only for POC, so things are changing.
I guess I can ask a follow-up question. So we've talked mostly about free tier and kind of how we prepare ourselves for it. But so how does one take advantage of free tier? I think maybe start with you, Mikes. When free tier is when you have free tier, how does one use it to its full capabilities?
Yeah, of course, I think Pontus touched on that, but of course you have the availability. If you have an existing B2P global account today, you can go in and activate the free tier very easily. It's limited on capacity units, so you can use the 45 services, but to a certain capacity. And it makes it very easy to, if you have an area where, a finance user or some want to, look at the process, you want to automate that in a certain way, you can easily activate that service, build that as a test, try it out, see what the outcome will look like, both from an architecture but business outcome perspective. And when you don't want to you want to deactivate the services, you do that by a click of a button. And then if that is then successful, you can also easily, clicking, go through to a productive account, and then be paying it on a consumption perspective. So it's a very kind of a self-service oriented way of start very quickly.
How you use it as well, for users.
Yes. So we always start with the sandboxing, and then when it comes to that, we want or need it in a productive or environment, and depending on what type of landscaping and how many tiers you need, then either we continue having the sandbox environment and activate development and whatever instances you need. So yes, it's easy. I mean, I think most of the people in here with a very short guidance would be able to, let's say, set up most of the things. I wouldn't say everything, but a lot of the things, like integration suite, like process automation, build, and so on.
Yeah, I think it's very, very well said. But I think if I would add something, maybe that looking to the ones that we work, the clients that we work with, I think to put some effort into spreading the possibility. It doesn't help if it's free, if nobody knows it, or if it's also maybe a few smaller portion of people that do this piece of POCs or try to be evangelists of doing things differently. I do think sometimes in the organizations with our customers that the people who really would need to spend some time to understand the potential in BTP, they do not really make use of the free tier. So maybe that then, to put some effort into spreading the word, build competence groups, innovation labs, something to set this aside, and maybe assign some budget for it. We do work with clients that have a yearly budget cycle still, where there's no room for these type of newer innovations or trial and error, or and when they want to do something, it needs to go through the budget cycle, and it just sort of takes away the advantage of the free tier, and maybe the possibility also if you also need to use the pay-per-use or whatever model you need to use, you need to also set the governance for the resources and people that need to work with them.
Oh, of course, I think it's very important to have, spread the message and showcase what's possible with what can be activated and used, and see what kind of business gains that can be achieved, and to really spread the message. And I think what we have seen at many customers is to create that kind of community groups, share that message, and that would be, we can have a separate finance, community where you share those innovations, what you do on free tier and on B2P, and then you can have it in different domains, of course. But there's many different kind of setups. But of course, why do you want to activate a free tier service on B2P? Yeah, maybe you want to learn the new solution, but in the end, why do you want to do it? You want to achieve some business outcomes, and it's not just because it's fun to try some services. You actually need to leverage some business value as well, and that's why, of course, business in the BTP name is there, to create some business value, and I think that's key, for sure, to achieve it.
No, but I mean, whatever we are doing, I mean, from my perspective, from the enterprise architecture view on the integration, nothing that we do is just for fun. I mean, we can joke on it and so on, but I mean, this is also, let's say, for the governance part of it as well that you're owning, because when you put it into productive mode, it's going to cost. So once you're doing the POCs and what you want to try out, that's a part of the whole scope, not just testing out a new technology. So we did a POC, for example, on advanced event mesh, for example, and that cost by the hour. So that means that we did a POC and then we closed it down. But the good thing about the outcome is that it strengthened our integration strategy globally. We have some things that we need to do in order to succeed fully. But when that is done, then we can start using it the way that we intend to use it. So the business outcome from that is then, of course, realized by different things when it comes from a core perspective. So the business outcome and the value is always there. And I think it would be bad if you did not have the business value in your mind while you're doing it. So the group on that, as you said, you should have the correct people. If you only have the technology nerds, if I'm allowed to say so, everyone that wants to do it, then then you don't know whether that will gain a business value. So that's the, let's say, the big thing when you have architectures or you have enterprise architecture, you also have business people involved, because you want them also to know what is the business outcome that we want to do from this. And maybe you have high-flying ideas in order to visualize. We have certain things, and in order to be able to analyze that, we need to do a certain thing. We have done the POC, so when we are done with that, then we can actually gain higher business value in the end. And that's, as you say, business technology, yeah? So I think that that's the correct mindset to go in. Don't just see it as a technology. It is technology, but you use the technology to gain that difference. Because otherwise we will be staying on PO. That is also business, but it does not. It's a technology more than what we have with the other tools. So that's a difference.
You mentioned earlier, we talked a lot about what free tier can do, but maybe if you could also share some limitations of free tier, and it would be very interesting to hear from you guys as well, what your kind of thoughts of that is as well.
Oh, limitation is that you can use 45 services on 96 of total in B2P that are available. And there is a capacity unit limit for each of those services. So you cannot use them, full scale with a 1 petabyte of data or whatever you want to try. So it's a very limited scope, which is very defined how much you can use it. But it's enough to really, set something small up. And obviously it's for free. You cannot, in real production, put it in real production. Then if you want to do that and move into that direction, it's easily that you can convert it over to a pay-as-you-go agreement, which is then you can have it in production, you pay a premium on that price, so basically it's a service on tap, but you pay a little bit more than the list price of that service. But obviously we see customers moving from free tier, small trial and error, finding a good case, moving to pay-as-you-go for maybe 1 to 2 months, 3 months. We see that the users are adopting the solution, and then we have a discussion on how will the growth look like in the next coming years or month, and then we agree on a kind of a production scale license. So yeah, smaller capacity, not all services, but it gives you a very good view on the capabilities in the B2B platform, as you can try build, you can try Datasphere, you can try integration suite, advanced event mesh, so very core capabilities of B2P, which is good, but some small limitations, yes.
And I could add also, for example, integration suite, that it's only up 45 days. So then it will be deactivated, so whatever you have in there will be gone. If you know that, that's fine. But you need to be prepared. And you don't have any type of support because it's community support. So that means that don't go crying to SAP if it doesn't work.
You can always come and cry to SAP.
Yeah. We can come and cry to SAP, yeah.
Did you say the 45 days is like the trial, the period that you have it, and then after that you lose it? Is that limited? Okay. But that sounds quite limiting, no?
Not for SAP.
That's a many working hours.
Yeah, exactly. I would say that is, let's say, when it comes to the sandbox environment, that's also why you have your sandbox landscape, because if it's running, it's costly. I mean, this is quite a good or a big instance with a lot of things. I could understand that you have a limitation for multiple reasons. Probably that, okay, we don't want to build or let you build something that you will run in production because you cannot control it. So then it's better to, you reset it in 45 days. And if you know what to do, you save your developments outside. So then you can re-import. And so I would say it's not that big of but it's good. It's limitations that are good to know. but it also gives you the full scale of this to be able to run it. Advanced event mesh is not on free tier, unfortunately.
Pay as you go.
Yeah,
Yep.
or CPEA,
Yes.
and it's costly by the hour.
But a lot of business value on advanced event mesh. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, don't forget about the ones that are not in the free tier. That's one thing, I guess, and keep them coming, Mikael, please.
Yeah,
And then the other thing I think would be to, in the free tier, I feel sometimes that we, especially when you, with some of the solutions, there are so many updates, so sometimes it's difficult also to, we can have challenges in documentation and how it's supposed to be running, and are we chasing a ghost, or is it really a problem? And those type of discussions we have quite a lot. So the chains of speed in the platform, which is good, causes some problems and frustrations sometimes on documentation side. Yeah, that's my idea.
I want to add to it as well. Discovery Center, I think everyone is aware of SAP Discovery Center, which is, and also like you said,
Discovery Center. One.
Victoria knows it good.
Oh, two.
And also, if you Google SAP Discovery Center, there's a lot of both reference architecture, but the kind of missions from use case perspective, which you can, that other customers have tried out. So you can try those out very easily. It's a clear architecture. What kind of capabilities in BTP would you need in order to have that use case activated and so on? And then, like you say, there's no support, but a massive support in the SAP community, the BTP community, and everyone is, of course, helping out on those topics.
Which is actually working very, very well, I think. And I think the missions are also very, very good. I do think sometimes that you need to be clear on, and recommendation is to be clear on when you talk to somebody or read a blog or ask somebody in the community, do they understand the context of where you're asking? Because sometimes there are quite some discussions going on that are 4 months old and they are not valid. So you need to be aware of that one.
Yes.
Actually, that we are, unless anyone had anything else to add, we are actually out of time. I would like to all to give the speakers here a warm applause. And I also want to give you a little recommendation that we're doing one more SAPSA talk on the B2B topic in the same room here at 3:30, to 4. So please give these guys a warm an applause, and hopefully we'll see you at the next session. We do have time for some questions. You just come up to the stage, maybe, if there are any questions. No, that's crystal clear, I think.
Yep, we will be around here. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.